Hi everybody, this is Pam with Jesus Junk Journals, and we are going on with the Ruth Journal. So today, I thought I would talk to you about, first of all, let me show you, so these are some other mini journals I've made. So this is the size they are, and I usually use fabric for them, but here's one that I used paper on, so you can certainly use paper for the cover. And here's one I used, my little God's Valentine one that I used a brown paper sack on, and the rest of these are cloth and different things like that. And so some of these journals, you know, are great to give away. The Salvation, the Encourage, those two particularly are good to, you know, make 5 or 6 and give away. And so I still have some left of those. This one is the spring journal, the boot camp, the junk journal boot camp journal that you make is about spring, and that's that one. So be thinking about what you're going to use for your cover, your fabric or paper. And so I think actually let me take this one and measure it. Grab a ruler. So this one, I allowed room for tabs, and that's why it's that size. And so it is about 10 inches long and 6 inches high. So 6 by 10, and that gave enough coverage for the inside the little tabs and things for that one. Okay, and so the same for the fabric. So 10 by 6, I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper here. So 10 by 6. And I'm going to go over and pick out some fabric. So if you're going to use fabric, what I do is I use a baby quilt liner that I got from Amazon. Here it is. And it's cotton and kind of like felt. You could use a couple layers of felt if you wanted to, or one layer of felt to line it with. It just gives it body, just gives it a little more heft, and makes it nicer. And then I take a piece of fabric on the inside and a piece of fabric on the outside, and I just sew around the edge and leave the edges raw. That's how I do it. You can do it however you would like. So let me show you one of those. Let's see what that looks like, so you can decide what you're going to do. So, on this one, I had an old baby quilt that I got at a flea market, so I used a lot of that. I made a lot of them with that, and so that's what I used for that. And then I just cut an outer piece of fabric and stitched around it. So that works too. If you have an old quilt that you want to cut up. I was looking when I was out flea marketing, it was on my list of things to look for, and sure enough, that was a blessing. I found one, and it was really in bad shape. There wasn't anything else in it. It smelled. It had been in a building that had gotten mildewed, and just there was no saving it. So I took it home and washed it and bleached it and used it for that, and it was perfect. So anyway, some options for you. Now, let me talk about the pages. Now, what I'm going to do, I've got this ruler that tears edges, and so I'm going to cut these apart, and then I'm going to tear the edges. So, actually, I should probably tear the edges and then cut them apart. It'll be easier. Okay. And I'm kind of a novice with this ruler, so it makes me a little nervous, but you can make your own rulers. There's different, I think, YouTube videos of people how to make these. Some people take a plastic ruler and a hot glue gun, and or not a hot glue gun. How do they do it? they melt the edge of the ruler and it gets all bumpy, and then it works the same way. So, you know, there's different ways to do this, because I have to say this ruler was kind of crazy. The cost, I forget now how much it cost, but I was like, really? This seems a little excessive. And I like this edge. It gives it the rough edge without quite as much drama as this edge. This is sharp too, boy. You kind of have to watch out. It's a nice heavy ruler. I mean, and they give you that line there so you can draw like a straight line with it. So, I mean, it's multifunctional, I guess you could say. Okay, so there are the, oh, one more. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these apart, and then we can fold them. It's raining here today. So nice. We've had this heat wave, and it's just so nice to have rain. It's been super humid and hot. So a rainy day's a nice break. Lightning and thunder, and it's just nice. So I'm not sure where I left off. I was kind of reciting this story of Ruth. So Ruth goes and gleans, yeah, and Boaz notices her, and he finds out that he's related to her, and he knows Naomi, and so he sends her home with a bunch of extra grain, and he tells the people who work for him not to bother her when she gleans, and to let her, and to even drop grain on the ground for her to pick up, so she will have extra to take home. And so she goes home to Naomi, and she tells Naomi what has taken place. And Naomi realizes that Boaz is one of their kinsman redeemers. So she knows the custom, or the way it's supposed to work. And so she tells Ruth to go lay, that Boaz will be at the wherever they're gathering the grain at. He's going to spend the night there, and she knows that. So uncover his feet, lay down at his feet, and then she tells her what to say and everything. And so Ruth agrees to do exactly what Naomi told her to do. So she goes at night to the threshing floor, and he's asleep. And so she goes up and uncovers his feet and lays down at his feet. And he wakes up in the middle of the night, and he sees this woman there, and he's like, what's going on? And so she explains and asks him to basically be the kinsman redeemer for them. And so he's surprised and very pleased, and he tells her, you could have gone with a younger man, and it's really awesome that you are doing what's best for Naomi and best for you, and that you're asking me to do this for you, and I'd love to do it, but there's another that's a closer relation than me, and so he has first rights to doing it, if he will. So he says, leave it to me. I will go find out. I'll go talk to him, deal with him. So he sends her home with grain, a lot of grain, and she tells Naomi, and Naomi's like, okay, great. She said he won't rest until he's settled this matter. So he goes to the city gates with, I believe, 10 of the city leaders. And the city gates where all the business is done in town. They all go to the city gates, and the men of the town get together, and the elders settle matters. And so he sees the other guy that's the closer relative, and he calls him over and explains to him the situation. And at first the man wants the property. So he's like, oh yes, I'll redeem it. And then he says, well, but if you do redeem it, you must take Naomi or you must take Ruth as your wife and, you know, produce an heir and all that. So suddenly he's doesn't want to do it. He changes his mind. He said, because it could threaten my own family, you know, inheritance in line that I, you know, what he has with his family. So he says no. So he takes his shoe off because that's what they do. That was a custom back then. And I'm going to use I'm going to stop and use my scoring board here to score these folds. So then Boaz declares to the city leaders that, you know, he intends to take Ruth as his wife and redeem the property. And so they get married, and she has a son named Obed, and this one doesn't have a line on it that I can see clearly, so actually I think I'll just fold it in half. And Naomi gets to take care of the baby, so she becomes the nurse for the baby and help raise her grandson. And then it gives the line, the family line, the bloodline, and they are in the line of David. So that Obed goes on to, you know, have a son, and he has a son. Let's see, I think Obed has Jesse, and Jesse has David. So King David came from this line. And then also Jesus, his bloodline through his human family goes through Obed as well, which is really something because she's an outsider. You know, she's not part of the Jewish people. She's brought in and becomes one of them. And so it is a forerunner or a symbol of the Gentiles, of us as in the church. You know, it stands for the church. So Ruth is a type or symbol for the church. And Naomi is a type or symbol of Israel. And so, you know, Naomi had walked away. You know, they'd gone off and left Israel, and they came back, but God redeemed her and restored her and blessed her. And that's what's going to happen to Israel in the end days as well. Okay, so I've got my pages folded. I'm going to figure out what order I want them to be in. And actually, no, I think I want them like this. So there's room, you know, right in the center. There's where the whole thing opens up and you can see both pages together. So I'm looking to see if there's one that I want to be that way. That could be that way. That's pretty. It's pretty like that too, though. So I think I might put the flower in the middle. I just like it. I like seeing the whole flower. So I might put it like that. And so I'm going to look here and see. So this is early in the story where the two girls are with her, and she sends Orpah back, and here's Ruth saying, I won't leave you. So that needs to be in the beginning. That is upside down. And doesn't play a part in the story. It's just a pretty page. And then here's here's Ruth, sorry. Pretty page. Just want to make sure there's nothing. And here she is meeting Boaz. So that would be fine. Yeah, so that's the order I'm going to put them in. You can do it however you would like. And there's room if you want to add another page of your own fabric, or just you have another junk journal page that you want to cut out the same size and put in there. You could do that. And so now I need to get my cover, because I'm going to bind this and bind my cover all together at one time. So I'm going to go look for my fabric real quick, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've got my cover cut out. I decided to use this for my cover, and I'm going to leave this edge here with this fringe on it. I think I'll put that on the front cover. Just let that be a edge. And then this is my inside. That's the back side. That's the inside. So I want that to show. Here's my little piece of liner that I may or may not have cut straight. And then this, decide what side I want out. And then kind of like the peach color, actually. I know that's the back side of it, but I like that color better. And I'm going to lay that like that, because this will be the cover. And I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and just do a stitch around the outside of it. And then it'll be ready to bring back and put the pages in it. So I'll be right back. Okay, actually, before I bind the pages into the journal, I'm going to go ahead and ink my pages. So I'm going to use my vintage photo, and hit these pages with some ink. All right, everybody, I am back, and I was getting ready to bind these, and I decided I'm going to wait, because I think I'm still going to want to decoupage on some of these pages. So I think it would be easier if I do it before I bind it. So I'm going to wait, and I'll probably do that on the next video, and then we'll bind it after that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video and put this out there. It'll be not a very long video, but basically you're going to get your pages ready, fold them, tear the edges if you want, ink them, get your cover ready, either cloth or paper or whatever you're going to use, and then we will do some more things to them on the next one. And I guess that's it. So thank you for watching, and I hope you liked it. Click the like button if you liked it. Think about subscribing if you haven't already. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.